And I'm back. This is my Smackdown recap now. This was a decent show overall. There was, for their final show too, their one match pay-per-view, their one match pay-per-view SummerSlam, which obviously Triple H versus Brock Lesnar is the match that they're hoping gets a big buy rate. But overall, I thought they did it okay. I thought they did a decent job building to the other two main matches, the world title and the Chris Jericho Dolph Ziggler matches for SummerSlam. So, okay, here we go. We'll start. The show actually began with the video package recapping the Sheamus Alberto Del Rio feud. And then the actual show in the arena started when Del Rio and Ricardo came out. Del Rio said that he wants his world title match back, and he wants it back right now. Del Rio said that peasant Sheamus took his car and it can't be fixed, and Del Rio says that Sheamus is getting rewarded for it, and he says, what kind of champion is Sheamus? Because he can play England cards to Booker T, so he can get out of the world title match. Then he asks what kind of GM is Booker T for agreeing to Sheamus' demands. Del Rio says he's the number one contender, and he isn't going anywhere until he gets his world title match at SummerSlam back on, reinstated. So then Booker comes out. He says that ever since he became GM, Del Rio's been a pain in his side, and he asked Del Rio what his problem is. Del Rio says that Sheamus messed with his property, and he made Sheamus pay, because that's what a real man does. Booker tells Del Rio that he's not a man. He tells Del Rio that a real man, doesn't hire 5 henchmen and dress them up like cops and have beat down one guy. And Booker says that Del Rio stepped across Sheamus' boundaries or whatever. And then, Booker says that that's not going down here on SmackDown. He's not letting that stuff happen. So then, Del Rio asks Booker who he thinks he is, and Sheamus starts, and then, attempting to take what's Del Rio saying, Booker or whoever's taking what's his. He said that he earned the right to be number one contender a while ago, and Del Rio says he spoke to his lawyers. And then, before he said anything further, I think it was Jericho tells Del Rio to shut up. And he says that Jericho says that no one cares about Del Rio's lawyers or his whining and complaining, pretty much. Then Del Rio says something in Spanish, he calls Jericho burro or something, and then he asks Jericho who do you think he is. Jericho responds by saying something in Spanish too, or whatever, and Del Rio says that's not funny, and so tells Jericho not to cross that line. And Jericho actually translates what he says, and that was that Del Rio's breath smelled like dog you know what. I mean, does every babyface have to have these stupid John Cena lines? So then Del Rio asks Jericho what he wants. Jericho says that he's got a proposition of his own here, and he says that since Del Rio isn't getting a title match at SummerSlam, then Jericho says that maybe after he beats Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam, he'll take Del Rio's spot and challenge Sheamus and win the ultimate big one and become world champion. Del Rio says that they already saw that one gringo peasant stole his car, and he's not going to let another gringo steal his world title match. So then Booker says that Sheamus won't be competing at SummerSlam because of the attack last week. And then Booker says that later on, at the end of the show, it will be Chris Jericho versus Alberto Del Rio at the end of the show. A decent segment. So then, before we have our next match, which is Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus Cody Rhodes and The Miz, they'll come out. Then Cody Rhodes came out, with the mic, and he said last week he attempted the unthinkable, and that was trying to unmask Sin Cara and expose him for the abomination that is his actual face. Time out a minute. It's like he attempted the unthinkable. What heel has not attempted to pull a babyface's mask off in the last I don't know how many years of wrestling? Don't fool us with this. It's the unthinkable. It's never been done before or whatever. So Cody says that he needs to ask that all children who were prone to nightmares or elderly people who have heart conditions to avert their eyes, and I guess not watch what's coming up next, or he's going to show and try. He says that this week he has pulled I think he said he has pulled through various eyewitnesses eyewitness actions, actual accounts, and he can now provide the fans with the help of a professional artist this rendition of Sin Cara unmasked. And they show some weird looking painting on the Titantron, and then Cody just calls it ugly as sin. Okay. Complete waste. Like I said, the whole thing with the heel obsessed with unmasking the babyface wrestler just because he wears a mask, and he's like, he says, oh, he wears a mask because he's got a hideous face, or hideous monstrous face, or whatever. Stupid. So then they get Sin Cara and Mysterio against Cody and Miz. Mysterio and Sin Cara win it. Ray gets the pin on Cody. Solid match. Throughout the match, Cody kept attempting to rip off Sin Cara's mask. And then at one point, Mysterio got him in the when Cody was trying to take the mask off of Sin Cara. Ray gave Cody 619, top rope splash, 1, 2, 3 to the end. Then afterwards, Miz got in the ring with the Intercontinental belt, took a swing at Ray. Ray ducked, got out of the way. Miz fell into the ropes and got 619. And then Ray goes to the floor, looking at the Intercontinental belt, and he holds her up and he poses with her for a bit. Not a bad match. Like I said, it was a solid tag match. Mysterio versus Miz at SummerSlam. I don't know what they think. That's could be good if they book it right. Then we have Tyler Rex and Kurt Hawkins come out for a match. They come out in these suits, these red shirts or whatever, and then they do some stupid dance bit, and then they just rip the suits off, and then they make ring gear or whatever. Really stupid gimmick. So then Rex and Hawkins squash two one-man guys. Meaningless match. I felt like I was watching the old Superstars of Wrestling Challenge here. So then they show a video package recapping the whole WWE title picture with Cena, Big Show, and CM Punk. And then we get Eve walking backstage, and Rika runs into her and wishes her luck in the match with Caitlyn. And Eve says she doesn't need luck, and Regal says there was a time when he was in charge of Raw, and he was the most powerful entity in WWE, and he thought he was unstoppable. Now, and then he just kind of just cuts himself off, and he wishes Eve luck again, but tells her to remember that power can be very fleeting, And then some woman comes by, and gives Regal trash bags to take out. She says, hey, what am I paying for? They haven't taken the trash out yet. And then Regal says to Eve, work's work, isn't it? Regal's segment was alright, but Regal's promo was good, just about how he was like, he used to be the guy in WWE and everything, but now he's not, his promo was good, but the whole thing with the stagehand coming in, giving him the garbage bags was just that. So then they show the Wade video package. These have been really well done. So then Taylor Long is at ringside for the Caitlyn Eve match. Winner becomes Booker T's assistant. Eve wins, so they got a heel being an assistant to a babyface GM. So then afterwards, she just tossed Taylor Long a bit. A decent but short match. Of course, Taylor Long is Booker's senior advisor, so I guess he outranks Eve or whatever. Who cares? So then we go to Booker in his office. He's texting, and Eve comes in. Booker congratulates her on winning and becoming her assistant. And Eve says that she knows she's Booker's assistant, but she's got so many ideas that she wants to bring to the table to improve SmackDown. She says that she learned so much by being with Johnny Ace. And Booker mentions that that Taylor Long and Eve have some history, that they haven't seen eye to eye. And he asks if they'll manage to get along, and she says, "Oh yeah, absolutely. The past is the past. She's all about the future." And she says she and Teddy Long will be great together. And Booker welcomes her aboard. Whatever. So then we get to Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. Randy Orton got the clean win. Daniel Bryan got another clean job. What happened was here, Daniel Bryan had the no lock on Randy Orton. Then Kane's pyro went off, and then Daniel Bryan just got scared out of his mind, jumped out the ring, was waiting for Kane to come out. Kane never came out, and then Daniel Bryan got back in the ring, and when he did, Orton gave him RKO, 1, 2, 3, the end. And then afterwards, Kane shows up on the stage, as I think Daniel was laying at the bottom of the ramp, whatever. This match was good, but again, they jobbed Daniel out again. It's just first he loses cleanly to Cena 2 weeks in a row, and now he's losing to a guy. He's losing to Randy Orton, a guy who just came back from a 60-day layoff. So it's just what are they doing with it? I don't know why the hell they're having Daniel Bryan lose here. Anyway, So we get next up, Santino Marella is doing some commentary, and then Antonio Cesaro, aka Claudio Castagnoli, and Aksana come out. Cesaro does his usual saying a word in the same 5 languages bit, and the word of the week was loser. So speaking of loser, we get another guy who's been on Jobber Island, Zack Ryder, and he loses to Antonio Cesaro too. Complete squash. Cesaro just pinned him, and that was pretty much it. Then afterwards, Santino gets the headset off. Cesaro smacks him. Santino gets in his face, and then Cesaro pushes Santino over the announce table. And that was alright for rules. Then Cesaro just posed on the stage or whatever. Then they had a video package recapping the Triple H Brock Lesnar feud. And then Michael Cole mentions, that what happened because of what happened with Shawn Michaels. He has a broken arm, and I don't know what else he mentioned. And he says that Michaels won't be at SummerSlam. So, and then we get some tweets from some fans and some wrestlers about all that. Yeah, I wasn't really ever going to like that. So then we have Ricardo Rodriguez give the introduction for Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio comes out, and then they show Jericho backstage. He's walking on his way to the ring. Dolph hits him in the back of the head with a briefcase, and he attacks him. He rams some kind of whatever, I don't know what it was. So then he screams at Jericho that Jericho can't win the big one, and Dolph tells Jericho not to overlook him. And then Booker T comes in and is like, "Hey Dolph, what are you doing? Get out of here!" And then referees come in, and Booker and referees check on Jericho, and Booker calls for the medics to come in. So whatever. So then back to the ring, Del Rio saying, "It looks like Jericho can't compete tonight, so the winner is." And then Ricardo says, "Alberto Del Rio." So Del Rio thinks he figures he's winning by forfeit since Jericho just got attacked backstage. So then Del Rio calls out Booker T so that Booker T can reinstate the world title match for SummerSlam. But Chris Jericho comes out and the match, and Jericho said, he tells the ref to ring the bell. So we get Jericho versus Del Rio. Del Rio got the pin with some assistance from Dolph Ziggler. Jericho had Dolph on the walls. Del Rio managed to turn around and get his way out of it, and he shoved Jericho into the ropes. Dolph yanked him down, yanked down the top rope. Jericho fell on the floor, and then Dolph put Jericho back in the ring. Del Rio kicked Jericho in the head. 1, 2, 3. Good match. So then, after the match, Del Rio knocks Chris Jericho in the cross arm breaker, and then Dolph trash talks Jericho, saying that he can't win the big one and all that stuff, the same old stuff. Then Sheamus comes out. Dolph heads for the hills, and then Sheamus pounds on Del Rio. Del Rio fights back a bit. He kicks Sheamus in the injured arm, and then Del Rio picks up Sheamus. Sheamus fights back, and they both fall to the floor. And then before Sheamus could get at Del Rio anymore, Del Rio hopped over the ring barrier to the crowd. And Ricardo did too. And then Booker T came out on the stage and asked Sheamus what he's doing out there. And Sheamus tells Booker the same thing Del Rio was saying, to reinstate the world title match for SummerSlam. Booker says that Sheamus is thinking with his heart, and that he says that Sheamus, he tells Sheamus that his arm is injured, and Sheamus says that he'll have to rip his arm off of him, and even that won't stop him from competing. So then Sheamus again asks Booker to reinstate the match. Booker says, if I do that, it's going to be for the world title. It's like, okay, yeah, we knew that. It was going to be for the world title in the first place, Booker. So then Sheamus says that the only person who wants this match more than Del Rio is him, and he asks Booker one more time to reinstate the match. So then reluctantly Booker agrees that the world title match is on Del Rio. Well, he didn't say dog, but that's how he always talks. So Sheamus and Del Rio will be happening at SummerSlam. I don't know why the hell they teased it wasn't going to in the first place. So then Del Rio and Ricardo just watch from the crowd, and Del Rio just applauding while Sheamus is in the ring, and that was it. I thought it was a solid build to the match. So like I said, overall I thought this was a decent show. Like I said, SummerSlam is, obviously being centered around Triple H versus Brock Lesnar. That's the match they're going for here. So now with the SmackDown recap out of the way, let me just. Thought the opening segment with Jericho, Del Rio, and Booker was good. It was good stuff. And the Jericho Del Rio match was also good. I liked, like I said, I liked the Randy Orton Daniel Bryan match, but not the outcome. Like I said, Ray Sin versus Cody and Miz, also solid match, but the whole Cody obsessed with unmasking Sin Cara thing is stupid. So was Rex and Hawkins' new gimmick. Ryder, Cesaro, and even Caitlyn, those were both meaningless matches. And Rico's promo, like I said, backstage, about him being the most powerful entity in WWE, and I thought he was good with that. But then the whole thing, coming in with the woman was like, "Hey, you haven't taken the trash out yet." That was stupid. But overall, I thought the show was decent. Not necessarily the greatest build to a big 4 pay-per-view, which SummerSlam does not feel like, but I thought it was a decent show. So with that out of the way, let's run down the SummerSlam card. Doing this from memory here. YouTube pre-show match: U.S. Champion Santino Marella versus Antonio Cesaro. And now on the actual card, we've got Rey Mysterio versus The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth defend the tag team titles against Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, the Primetime Players. We've got Kane versus Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio for the world title. WWE Championship on the line as champion CM Punk defends against The Big Show and John Cena in a triple threat match. And we have the match that the show is being centered around, the game: Triple H versus Brock Lesnar, the big fighting machine, the perfect storm, or whatever. Take it on for SummerSlam. I'm sure I'm not plucking out much for that. So anyway, that'll do it now, and I'll be back next week on Tuesday or Wednesday with my night after SummerSlam Raw recap. For sure, so I don't know if I'll be seeing SummerSlam. I don't know if I'll do. If I do, I don't know if I'll do a recap of it. I'm not sure yet, but I'll definitely be back with the night after SummerSlam Raw. I'll be doing a recap of that. So till next week, this is Tony Viz signing off. Take care, all.